Hello everyone, it's Kari and I'm back with another sneak peek to our upcoming release at Missing Stamps. This is the best sort and it's another addition to our magical collection. Look at all these cute characters. There's the hat and there's 3 characters along with this wizard and lots of really great sentiments. There is also a coordinating die that you can get to go with this, and I'm going to make a quick card for you today using this background stamp that's already available in the shop. I am going to stamp it out using some Copic friendly ink, and I've masked off the bottom portion of this stamp, which is the tables and the benches. I just wanted the background wall scene for this, so I'm being kind of careful. I just basically masked it off with some low-tack tape, and now I'm going to stamp it on. Now you're going to see that I'm not going to get all of the impression, but I'm going to draw in some of those lines that are missing at the bottom where I masked it off. To give the background a little texture, I'm going to choose one of these stencils. Missing Stamps has some really great textural stencils that are great for walls, and I decided to go with the brick one. I'm going to mask off just the top to ink on some light tan ink. I'm going to go with some antique linen for this. And I'm just avoiding that window going around the edge here. So this is going to be a nice light tan stone brick. And then I'm going to mask that part off and use some red for the brick around the bottom. So I'm going to go in with some fired brick for this one and just ink around the sides. So just the brick is going to show through on those sides. Very simple and easy to do without using any masking. So you know I do love a quick stencil. I did mask off the top and the bottom, but not the center, and I found it was easy enough just to ink around that. And we're going to add a few details here. For the bottom, I'm going to choose this Cobblestone stencil. Miss Ink also has some perspective floor stencils, but my floor was a little bit larger than I anticipated, so I'm just going to use this stencil right here. And I'm going to go in with some antique linen, and then I'm going to add some more detail, just inking up near the bottom of each of those stones with some vintage photo. And that will just bring out some of the variations in the tone and the color of these stones. And I am just tapping off onto my masking tape there, just to make sure I don't get any giant blobs. And I'll go around the edges as well. Now we're going to add just a little bit of detail with some Copic markers. So you can see I'm doing some really quick coloring around those details. And then I'm going to color up a few of the images in the background. But first I'm going to take a ruler and just add back in those lines at the bottom. I'm just using a Sharpie here. You could use a Copic multi-liner, whatever black pen you have, and it's pretty easy to add those back in. You can kind of see where they're at. There we go. And now we can finish coloring in the rest of some of the details. I'm going to color the little chairs in with some dark purples, kind of a royal purple color. And then I'll color the table in with some browns. And you can see this is very, very quick. I'm not being too picky about this because I know that my images from the new stamp set release that are going to go in the front, they're going to cover most of this. So just a quick coloring. And for the windows, I wanted to add a little bit of blues and greens. So I'm going to start with some light blue near the bottom of each of the windows. And then I'll blend that out with a lighter blue even. And then near the tops of those windows, I'm going to add in some greens. This is a beautiful stained glass window, so you could color it in all colors if you wanted to. You could add some beautiful stained glass detail, but I knew that this was just going to be going into the background and that my focal point images were going to cover up a lot of this. Now that we have those colored in, we can add the details to the front of our card. So I've already cut and colored these images, and I use the coordinating dies to cut 3 extra dies. So I'm going to put those together But before I do, I'm going to add this little hat between the layers. This is a separate mini die release, this little hat here, and this is perfect with this scene. So she's going to be holding that and then kind of like placing it on his head a little bit. Then I've chosen one of the sentiments from the new stamp set. But before I realized, before I added this, I needed to add a few more layers to that little hat die. So I added a couple extra layers and now I'm gluing them on. I had to cut off a little portion of it so it would fit behind her hand. That will add the dimension that I'm looking for. Now for around the sides, I decided it needed a little more drama, so I'm taking some black ink and that wasn't nearly enough for me. So I've just got a little finger dauber and I'm adding black ink around the edges and a little more heavy on the corners of the card. And that's going to add kind of like a dreamy feel that I'm looking for. I really like that, just like that. So I'll add the black all around the edges like this. And now we can put our card together. So you see here I've already stamped and added the sentiment to a black frame. Now I'm going to glue on the rest of the elements here. And I think this just creates the cutest little scene. So I'm just using liquid adhesive. Again, I've added 3 extra layers to this image as well, using the coordinating dies to cut out some extra cardstock, and that will create the dimension. Now I can add it to the card base and look at this card. That's going to finish this off today, although I could have added some of the stars that come in the stamp set with the coordinating dies, cutting them out around the edges, and that would have been adorable as well. I hope you enjoyed this sneak peek into our upcoming release. It will all be available and in the shop on Saturday, September 27th, 2025. So take a look and watch for more sneak peeks. We'll have them throughout the week until the new release is live. I'll be back with more to share. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.